array of eyes just slowly growing, some of them winking out, some of them opening. And then you see a large tree further off in the distance. And you're sitting back at this campfire again.
Not anymore.
And you kind of take a moment, and you're very confused. You feel like you could have been here for an hour, you could have been here for a week. You're not sure. But all of a sudden you kind of look towards your arm, your wooden arm. And you kind of feel this just itch growing up your arm. You kind of watch as some of the green tendrils that float down begin to just wink out. Become black. Right down, and you feel this kind of just feels weird. You kind of take your arm and you kind of brush it to see if you can scratch the itch. Flakes of bark begin to chip off. You kind of shake your arm, and you just something feels wrong but strangely good at the same time about this erosion. Part of it might be the rebirth of natural things, but it's almost as if with a wildfire that goes through and burns everything down, new life springs from it, and you kind of get that same feeling of just rebirth running through you. Even though your arm seems to be in some form of decay, you know that this just feels good and you kind of like it.
I could probably host moss on that.
Basically, is what you kind of get. You kind of you begin to hear this strange lilting tune again. You kind of look around. Roll a perception check for me.
Nice.
19.
19?
No, hold on. So it's 20.
20? As you look off into the distance, you not looking at the tree, not looking at the eyes, you look straight for in front of you over the top of the campfire, and through the waves of heat and the distortion, you see just this grin again. And then you wake up, and you feel Miriam right beside you, and you kind of look down at your arm, and the same thing that happened in the dream is now in reality. You see a small pile of bark that's laying on beside you.
I'm shedding. I'm molting.
You kind of just, it's really difficult for you to kind of catch your breath. You just have a really strong feeling to kind of just step out and get some air for a second.
Okay.
You okay, bud?
I'll be back.
So as you kind of step out of the bubble, and you kind of look around, and again, you see much of the same sewer system, all the rats running around. And you see one that you're not sure if it was from the battle before or what, but seems to be on its last leg in front of you. And you kind of take a moment and you just get this strange feeling in your gut. And you go over and you kind of check it, touch it, and see it if you feel anything. And you feel this burst of arcane energy roll through your arm. And you watch it suddenly seem to feel better. Seem to be fine. You now have Spare the Dying cantrip. You still are coated in this cold sweat feeling. You kind of take your wooden arm and you shake it again. And you just see these sickly green just motes of arcane energy sputter out of your arms, splatter to the ground. You now have Ray of Sickness.
Ooh.
Oh! Gee, David, how come you get 2 spells?
You also, just from the same cold, you kind of look at your hand and you turn it in your palm, and you see faint motes of just like hoarfrost glistening on your fingers. You have a new cantrip.
I have a lot going on right now.
You had a magical wet dream.
Oh my god, I'm having... Is this puberty?
You had a magical wet dream.
And you
Yay.
feel strangely
He feels a tinge of
emboldened
jealousy in her sleep.
by all
She's
of the
like,
death and the decay in your arm.
You
now have false life.
What's this one do?
Did I?
You have magic.
You
Oh, that's true.
Oh,
Have a
yeah.
magical wet dream.
are now
So you got 2
level
spells and 2
6.
cantrips?
Sorta.
You're level 6.
Okay.
So
Level 6, 5 druid, 1.
yes.
Okay.
She
I was like, is that still how you read it?
Yes,
Okay.
your character level 6, but you have 1 point in Warlock,
Okay.
5 in Druid.
Okay. Just making sure I have it all written right.
That's how we're doing it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
So the way that I'm kind of doing leveling up
Homeboy's
now,
multi-classing.
there's going to be group collective milestone moments, but then there's going to be individual milestones. Whatever
it
this
says it at the
pact
bottom.
seems to have done, he now has gained some new powers that otherwise he might not have had. So that is just how I'm going to handle leveling up. So if you collectively as a group take on one big challenge, then you all may level up. But this was a milestone moment for Sylvis, and that is why he is now level 6.
Being forced to play.
Do I need to do more stuff with my...
We made jokes about it
do I need
last
to
week, and
adjust
then
all
it
done?
happened, and
You
it
need to
was
roll
like,
hit
oh,
dice.
You
shit.
did all of it?
So
Yes.
he's a level 5
Including-
druid, a
'cause it was
level 1
supposed to
warlock,
increase, too.
and therefore it was
Yeah,
now
you
level
and your
6.
charisma is now +1.
Okay.
So
But you changed those.
Cool.
Yes, I dropped
Classes
those down by 1.
two separate
That was
levels.
what we agreed.
Yeah.
They were 15, but
Yeah,
I changed
it's,
the
I
modifier.
don't remember about that.
14 is
yeah.
still +2.
It's
Okay.
multi-classing gives you more options overall.
Right,
but
we're
you
not...
don't-
Never mind. Okay, yeah,
But
yeah,
you
yeah.
can't get like.
Ultimate.
Sorry.
So
How do I do my hit dice? I don't even know.
Unless
still roll a
go
D8.
past
D8, and then
Apparently,
it's plus...
high level trickster
Plus your
cleric isn't
constitution.
good, so I was thinking about doing
So you
rogue
take
anyway.
either 5 or whatever you roll
20. That's a
as a
fun
minimum.
combo. Yeah.
Rogue and
6
really
plus
is-
2, so
Yeah.
that's D8.
Yes,
Am
you
I
gain
doing that
8
right?
to your life total.
It's just that.
Yes.
I'm a spellcaster and cleric just gets bashy things. That
So, that
Yeah.
brings me up to
Clerics
40...
are survivable,
God, I
Yeah.
can't do math.
whereas rogues are
What is your
squishy.
total right now?
8 plus 39, that's 47.
So that's
What's up, you?
It's more in line with what I've been
47.
doing, though, 'cause I'm
If
really
you're
squishy.
new.
There's
Yeah.
a lot of conversation.
You're fine.
Can't do-
Your new spellcasting modifiers for those spells that I just gave you are based off of charisma. So you'll need to write your new spell attack bonus and spell
to the
save
club,
DC
brother.
for
Don't
charisma.
remember how
You're a
to do
warlock,
that.
Harry. I was a warlock last
It's
game. Oh, nice.
proficiency and then your modifier, I think.
Yes.
It's hard to play around, like, you know.
Yeah, it's your proficiency
being,
and then your charisma modifier.
It's like
servants of
8
the
plus
great
your
old one.
proficiency and your
The rest of the
modifier.
group, That was pretty
Hold
lawful
on.
good.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Hermes, I felt you against my knee.
So my charisma...
That's your butt.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it
need to
is.
adjust all of this, actually.
He's like, fuck yeah.
Maybe.
Or he's like, give me them ass scratching.
Your face has
Give me
no
those
butt.
Basically, as
Ass
you kind
screws.
of, based off of that roll, you kind of see this entire reaction kind of take place, and you don't really know what happened, but you just kind of see Sylvis kind of freaking out a little bit outside of the bubble.
Wait, for David to get one here? Do it, baby.
It's a lot to do.
I know.
And it's struggling to concentrate for some reason. I don't know why. Okay, so I've got that. Okay, so how...
For your spells, you now have do wisdom for those, and then do a slash and do charisma for your next ones.
I'm just gonna do it down here.
That's fine,
Yeah,
too.
I'm definitely gonna need help when this moment comes for me.
Yeah, and not everybody's gonna multi-class. It's just more of like this was thematic for his thing. If
That's
you want to
exciting.
multi-class, you can do that, and that's fine too. This was just more of a his decisions and
That's
the
cool.
pact that he made influenced what his character is going to be narratively.
That's so cool.
I thought about multi-classing.
And that's fine. Just give me a heads up, and we'll work it into the story. That goes for everybody.
Okay.
I'm probably gonna
So-
do rogue once I
Yeah.
read more about it.
Spell save DC is now...
Let me look that up for you.
I've been thinking.
Because it should go well with trickster. And also.
It's 8 plus your spellcasting ability modifier, which for you it's charisma, so it'd be +1.
So my spell save DC is only 9.
And then it's also your proficiency, so you should add 3 to that as well.
Yeah, so it's...
Okay, so it's 12.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's just for your warlock spells.
Yeah. So it's 12 spell save DC, and spell attack bonus is...
Your spell attack bonus.
Probably 4. Proficiency and charisma.
Oh yeah, probably.
Because what does your stuff go off now?
Well, just my warlock spells go off of charisma.
What are your druid spells go off of?
Wisdom.
Spell
Yeah.
attack modifier is your spellcasting ability modifier plus your proficiency modifier.
Alright, so yeah, so it's plus 4.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright.
Where's
isn't it? That's everything.
Yeah, that should be everything. You've got your spells.
Yeah.
Do you have your HP and everything rolled?
Yeah, we just
Yeah,
had
just
HP.
did that.
Okay.
What about my spell slots?
Your spell slots, they still, you gain 2 warlock spell slots. So basically, you can have
Right.
your warlock spells are always just on the back burner.
Yeah. So am I just adding that to my total slots?
Yes, you have 6
So I
first
have
level
6
spell
first level
slots.
slots now. Okay.
Yeah.
Damn.
And that's it though.
It's a warlock, baby.
Yeah, that's it. Because
I mean,
warlocks,
we don't
they-
get a lot of spells, but we do get a lot of cantrips.
Yep.
Okay.
That's exciting.
And they're pretty good cantrips, so.
I have Spare the Dying too, I just can't find the card.
What cantrips do you have now?
Well,
Dying
frostbite
and then-
is the
Oh, you got frostbite. Okay.
yeah, which
Yeah, that sounds neat.
It's good.
if it works, then it causes disadvantage on future attacks from the
But-
enemy, which I like.
Yeah.
So.
So you see, you still just have this mini episode. I think that's everything. I think that's
I think.
everything you should get. And so you're standing outside of the bubble, kind of having this little bit of a mini breakdown. What would you like to do?
I mean, I'm in the middle of my breakdown.
Okay.
Usually after, I like to cuddle up with a nice basil plant and sniff. I'm just kidding.
I don't smell like basil. I'm sorry. I don't think anybody has basil.
What's basil?
It smell like shit.
Oh god, yeah.
Not wrong.
Oh yeah, so I guess so my arm is like sorta decaying?
A little bit, but not a lot. You've just got like black.
Is it just like dried or is it like a little bit
You know when you see the tufts
A
of like
little
of like a spore system kind of running through like wood?
Yeah.
That's what you got. It's little black tendrils of like spores kind of seeming to seep down your arm.